Welcome to it. Welcome. We're back, and right now we can consider ourselves seasoned podcasters. So I say welcome to it. This is Everyday Lessons Now with Dr. Amala Luncheon and yours truly Jaiga. We are here, episode number 10, and we are here. We are here, and the vibe has been amazing. The journey has been amazing thus far, and as we tell you all every week, you can leave from the podcast learning something every day about emotional intelligence. And we're here again, and as I have to say, we no longer can make baby mistakes because we are now seasoned podcasters. So we say it's good. When you talk about Joe Rogan and all of these people, our names should be mentioned and echoed in the same breath.
Same spaces.
Same space. All right. So welcome to it. And today is going to be a very unique episode. It's one that I kind of suggested because I feel it's very important, especially now. We're talking about borderline almost a new year. Mm-hmm. You know, so we kind of preparing ourselves for different season emotionally. Because I think with everything that we've been doing so far, it's about preparing you for whatever season you are in. And
absolutely
getting your mind right for that space, because fortunately for some, you might be in a new job. Congratulations to you, because I had a conversation with somebody just recently and they said they have not been employed onwards of 3 years, even before the pandemic. And it was such a struggle, and been trying so many things and doing so many different things to just try and stay afloat. So if there's anybody who listens to us and you're in that particular situation, we hope that we can assist you with navigating and controlling those emotional feelings.
Keeping your mindset
right
in the right space.
In this time. So this is where we're at. And hello and welcome, Dr. Amala.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Happy to be getting all those questions and being able to respond to questions and even to talk to people just, on a personal level. I think it's so rewarding because you never know what people are thinking and what they're going through until they start telling you, well, this is what I'm facing, or if I were in a situation like this, then, this is what I would have done, or so on. And those things are actually quite interesting. So when you said today, you wanted to talk about relationship management, I thought, all right, well, let me just get a quick list of things that people can do to help them manage relationships in general. Because a lot of the things, while they may come from a business setting, because you're dealing with people in a business setting, you're also dealing with people in those relationships that you wanted to talk about. And so the first one that I had was know how to manage conflict. Because in every situation, when we want to talk about relationship management and controlling emotions and, I need you to talk to this person, is because there's conflict. Nobody wants to talk to anybody when things are going well. We figure we have it under control, and you're going down the road, as you would say, you're on the wee road.
Yeah.
But when there starts to be a departure, you come to a fork in the road, that is when people say, well, we need to talk to somebody. Or sometimes it doesn't even get to that point. Sometimes people just go their separate ways and there's no intention or there's no chance for reconciliation. So know how to manage conflict, and how you manage conflict has a lot to do with, you and I like to talk about the art of war. And, I often like to say that war is won in peacetime. So when you have situations where things seem to be going well, what you need to do is build in that time. And so that foundation that you end up building will help you to be able to manage the conflict when you get to a stage where things aren't as rosy as they used to be. You're no longer in the honeymoon phase. That, for instance, is the same kind of approach you'd want to use in business relationships. So if you have a supplier who's been sending stuff late, and then as a result, you're unable to, let's say you're in further processing and you have someone who sends in plastic bags, and then you need to make those plastic bags into smaller prepackaged bags, and it's slowing down your operation. You need to be able to say to that supplier in a nice way, hey, can we get the shipping done maybe a week early or whatever? Can we work on getting some more in, or have the person in your location look at your levels so that you understand when you get to a certain level, maybe your reorder level needs to be changed or whatever. So that will help you manage what could be a conflict if, because Some people say, well, let's just change the supplier because they can't do it in time. If you don't take the time to understand what their process is, then that could be a problem.
And speaking about changing the supplier, there's some people, I'm going to always bring it back into relationships, man and woman.
Right,
There's
right.
in some relationships, some people want to change the supplier as well.
Indeed.
You in a relationship, and some relationships are dysfunctional, meaning there's no love, there isn't anything, there's no romance. It's a relationship of function, meaning you share 2 kids, you share a mortgage, you share responsibility. So you're functioning in that space.
Yeah.
And then when you get to that level of frustration, you decide to say, listen, I want to change the supplier. Supplier meaning you want to remove a significant other because they're not giving you or nurturing you
Right.
that nurturing thing that you are searching for. And because some people, and I will say this from a man's perspective, I know a lot of my peers might be upset, but it's something a lot of men do. We tend to not want conflict because we are sailing nicely. So you don't want to ruffle the feathers. It's like, she's not telling me anything. You might know within self, if you're self-aware enough to know that what I'm doing is bothering her, but she ain't saying nothing. So you see me,
Right, let's just
going
leave
and
it
say
alone.
nothing. I'm going to leave it alone and just continue. And that builds and builds and builds. So it brings it back to what you're talking about. She now is saying that packaging company messing up. I need to talk to them because it's slowing down my productivity. So she might want to talk to you because it's giving her an ulcer. If we really dig deep into relationships and stresses and triggers, there's some people who get ill because they're harboring things.
Absolutely.
And it now affects their health. So if you're not aware of what's happening, you could end up where your loved one or your significant other is in hospital. And the doctor is saying she's losing hair because she's stressed out.
This is stress.
She has all these headaches because she's stressed out. But in your mind, why is she stressed? She's not saying anything.
Right.
So this is how, when we're managing conflict, you have to then be ready to have the conversation and change the direction of it, and just don't jump up and say, listen, I just want a new supplier because it's easy. Being the easy way out is not always the best way out.
But who says that when you get this new supplier, you're not going to have any problems?
True. That's why they say
So that's the mistake that we
greener.
make a lot. That's a mistake we make a lot. We generally tend to give up, and people often say, "But our grandparents stayed together or whatever." And that's an argument that can go both ways, because in a lot of cases, they didn't have the ability that we have now to know that someone that you might like exists 5,000 miles away.
Correct.
And that kind of thing. So they stuck with what they knew, and they went through with it. They didn't give up. I don't know if that was right or wrong, but here we are. So the next one I have is establish relationship goals. So if you know what the goal is, and often we want to begin with the end in mind. So if the end is till death do us part, then we might have to stick to that. And so how do we stay on this journey
Till death do us part.
and with this goal that we've established? If you know that from the beginning there was an issue and perhaps it should not have happened, then that's completely different. But if things are going wrong because along the way, you didn't build, and there wasn't care, and there wasn't, there weren't all the other things that should have been there, then that's a problem. So if you have established relationship goals, then that is something that you want to look at. And in business, you can understand that the goal may be to make a profit. The goal may be to get the business to 2 years, and then you can sell it, because all you're doing is building so that somebody can buy you out. So
Right.
you want to get, you do all the things that you want to do on social media and so on. That is the goal. How do we translate those goals into
hold on,
regular
stick a pin.
relationship?
How do we communicate those goals to each other? Because you said something there just now that triggered me. When you say get the business to 2 years and then sell it, there's some
Right.
people in relationships, they get into a relationship to see what they can get from that person, and when they receive it,
Okay.
they move forward.
Right.
And these are the things we have to
Right.
discuss. It's like, we always say it every time we're on this platform or anywhere we go, that have those uncomfortable conversations. Get comfortable having uncomfortable conversations. And these are the things that we need to talk about, because there are people who get into relationships. Like, for instance, I'm not trying to turn it into a man versus woman or woman versus man. It could be
Right.
vice versa. A man could see a woman and knows that she is a childbearing woman. Somebody who thinks could make me beautiful kids. When you get the children, you know don't want the woman because it's like the same thing you talk about, getting the business to where you want to sell it.
Right.
And then there are some people who get with people because they see benefit for them. Like you might put yourself in a position where it's somebody who can help you get a contract. And vice versa, women get with men who can help them get something. And when they acquire that, so if you don't
That's
know,
the purpose of the relationship,
right?
basically.
So if the
But it was probably not discussed.
so if the
It's
end
in your
game,
head only.
right? If the end game is not the same,
Right.
you're walking in to a room of doom, because we need to make sure that the end games are the
You're on
same
the
for
same
both
page.
individuals
Right.
from the beginning. Because I've seen it, we have seen it, heard about it, read it, look at movies 1,000 times where people get into a relationship and never discuss wanting kids.
Right.
So we in
Yes.
relationship, the woman is fertile and she, oh my God, is loving the air. I'm talking about the two people love each other to death. So in her mind, I'm excited for that time where I can have a child, but it's not being discussed. And he has a,
Right.
a vasectomy. So
Right.
you know, he can't even
Oh
give
boy.
you kids.
Right.
But you don't know because you never had the discussion. You was caught up in the
Yes.
whirlwind of the romance and the
Right.
courting and the love, and you reach 3 years into marriage and now you're having that discussion. So now she's heartbroken and feeling betrayed. But you
Yes.
can't feel betrayed because you never bring the question
You didn't do the homework.
up front. So and being a man, and I'm not defending men here, but men operate in a space of, you didn't ask me. We are not all men are self-aware enough to know that there are certain rules and regulations in dating.
Or certain things that could make life easier down the road
And
if you
the-
say them early enough.
And not only that, we have to, if we're being real and we're being fair and we're being honest, as adults, even young adults, there are certain things that, you know, it's like, all right, if you going to take a loan, there's standard things you must have, correct? A job letter, a pay slip, credit history, your debt ratio. The same applies. It's like you're talking about business. The same applies in a personal relationship. If you're meeting someone, you would like to think that the person will then bring forth
Have all their
information
ducks in a
and
row.
divulge information. But
Yeah.
the problem with men, a lot of men, in not wanting to feel as though they're vulnerable and emotional, if something is, especially if we're talking in a sexual nature, in a personal nature, like it might have a man who might have, let's say, an erectile issue, but this woman is heavily attracted to him. He will do everything to dodge and not just come straight forward and say this is the issue, because with the fear of shame and
Right.
all of these different things, he can have
Right.
that conversation.
Absolutely.
So he doesn't know how to
Absolutely.
say, well, I am attracted to you as well, but this is my say. Because who knows? That
Right.
might actually be the person who can help him through that and
Yes,
find
exactly.
balance, and both of them could live happily ever after with whatever issue. So this is where we, as again, have to be comfortable and come forward and say certain things, and remember, once we plant, we say this is the goal. Together, we have to get to the same goal.
Right. Right. The third one I have is build trust. And a lot of those things you just spoke about would help to build trust. Trust has a lot to do with communication. And I like to say it's also some of the things that you're not saying. Because when we communicate, we believe that communication is only what is said, and people hear what we say. But what are the things that you're not saying? What are some of the things that you're leaving out that might be important? And so in building trust in a business relationship, it may look a little different, but it's the same thing, because someone has to be able to take you at your word. Someone has to know that they can rely on you. And that's really what trust is. It's about reliability. Can I trust this person to do the right thing in my absence? Can I trust this person to do the right thing for the benefit of the relationship? That's really how trust works. And then we like to say, when trust is broken, then it's all downhill from there. So building trust is the third thing that we can look at in terms of relationship management for both businesses and interpersonal relationships. Number 4 is one of my favorites. Listen actively. Listen actively. Because we always, or 9 out of 10 times, we listen to respond. And we are not equipped as a people to listen, understand what is being said, and then offer a response if one is necessary. you don't necessarily always have to respond with something vocal and verbal and a long, a whole litany of things. But listen actively. Listening actively is a skill that I think we all need to enhance and keep practicing. And it's definitely one of the things that will make you more emotionally intelligent. So guys, we need to practice our listening.
And I will say again, some men might get vexed. It's a flow. It's a male flow. Males do it more so than women. And I'm sure there are studies out there that can prove my answer, that we do not listen actively. We listen defensively because we're always on the ropes. Especially when you hear this question, we need to talk. From the time you hear from a significant other, we need to talk, you automatically, it triggers a pheromone somewhere. Yeah. So it's some kind of chemical in your brain that tells you, put on them gloves and get ready, I'm in trouble. So it could be, I need to talk to you because I'm struggling with a particular emotion and I want your input.
But see, a lot of times it's not that. And that we need to talk comes from a place of not knowing how to manage conflict in the beginning. So when we get to I need to talk, you knew.
No, but not all the time. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying sometimes a woman could say I need to talk. A woman who is very much self-aware and who understands a lot of things and operates in a very nice space would say something like we need to talk without even thinking that it's a negative. Right. It has no negative connotation behind it. It's her telling you we need to talk, meaning to put you on guard, to give me of your time. Because what we need to talk about is not how you're going to pick up this in the grocery. Right. No, it is I need to talk. And it could mean, listen, this is happening to me at work and I'm affected by it and I'm thinking I want to leave. What do you think about that? How could we now together afford me staying home and things like that? So that's what I'm saying. For men, when they hear that I need to talk, they get so excited and so they automatically put on this defense. So that is why I say we listen defensively and not actively because of what we saw and these are things we have to learn. We always feel when a woman comes to us with that, it's either something negative or it's going to be conflict. She's coming at a place where it built up so much and she can't take it no more and come into fight. Right. You understand? So that is when we say, so if you, before all of that, continue listening actively, whenever you will know which one of the I need to talk is the one.
You know from the tone.
Exactly. You will have a better understanding because all the time you've been listening to her actively and you know, listen, I know where she's coming from. And we too also as men need to be observant of the little things. You have to always be observant of the little things and remember that and women too have to remember that men do, and it's something that's very much in the forefront now more so than the yesteryears. Men do have feelings and you need to understand that you have to talk and operate with them knowing that they have feelings. For many moons women believe that, not that they didn't believe men had feelings, but they always felt as though they weren't responsible for it.
Oh, and men generally don't express those feelings until it gets to crisis proportions. So we need to help them to practice expressing emotions daily in ordinary situations. This is how you feel about X or Y or whatever, And the last one that we have time for is acknowledge others' emotions. So if you know in a space, and again, we could start with business, how people feel about things in a work environment, little things. So, cleaning the break room, leaving stuff out in the corridor, moving stationery from one place to another, stuff like that. How people, if every time you leave a meeting, someone says, well, that could have been an email, then, these are things that you need to understand and it can help you manage those emotions when you acknowledge them. So acknowledging emotions is one of the ways that we can manage relationships. And we understand really how that could work in interpersonal relationships. If you know someone is upset, you come home and perhaps it's your turn to take the garbage out, perhaps it's your turn to rake the leaves, whatever it is, and you don't do it and you don't say, well, listen, I have a headache, I can't do that today, but I'll get to it first thing in the morning. Then it's just communication again, and letting somebody know, I'm not ignoring you, this is what is happening. Those things make a big difference.
A huge difference, especially, and everything you describe in the workplace happens at home. You can
Yes.
you can have an assignment whereas there's a faucet that's continuously leaking and you've been asked by a significant other, could you please look into the faucet? If you're not in that space where you can say, listen, I personally can't fix it, I have to get someone, I'm going to look to do that on the weekend. If you just allow that faucet to keep dripping without mentioning and acknowledging as to why you haven't said anything, conflict could come out of that. Because
Yeah, you'll get a flood.
not all the time. Not if you keep digging out the bucket and throwing it out. Now you ain't got a flood.
See,
But no,
then we have a way to fix that.
but it could be annoying to the other person because
Right,
they're constantly
absolutely.
hearing the tick, 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 tick,
Yep.
tick, tick, tick,
Yep.
and that could trigger something because, oh my
Right.
God, 10
I
days now,
spoke
I've been
about it,
10
right.
days ago and I'm still hearing this dip, 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 dip.
Yeah.
It could be annoying. So to avoid all of that is, as you said, acknowledging how you feel and letting the person know as to why you have not attended to it yet or when you're going to attend to it will help eliminate a lot of problems. And if you apply these everyday lessons, as we say, to your days and in everything, in your work life, your home life, and your family life, and all these things we speak about applies to friendships as well. Don't ever
Absolutely.
take friendships for granted and feel because that's my friend. You understand? There's conflicts in friendship as well because
Absolutely.
we see it more so now with politics, with vaccinations. There's so much things that causing conflict this on a regular basis. So you have to employ all of these things that we talk about into your everyday life. All right? So guys,
I just want to recap them quickly and then we can sign off.
Yeah.
So 1, know how to manage conflict. 2, establish relationship goals. 3, build trust. 4, listen actively. And 5, acknowledge others' emotions.
yes, sir. And guys, remember, you can feel free to send us an email anytime. If you have questions, if there's something you want to know personally, you can send the email and we can have the discussion and bring it up right here on Everyday Lessons Now. So, in fine style as we do, the only podcast worldwide that we send you home dancing. All right? So, until next week, we say much love.